Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast.
Today we're going to talk about language in politics and media.
Specifically, we will discuss fake news, media manipulation, and a specific case study and evidence in politics.
Without further ado, let's begin.
One thing we see a lot in politics is fake news. Specifically, conservative politicians are the most likely user of fake news.
What happens when the media is accused of creating fake news?
According to research, fake news websites only reach a small portion of the public. Data, on the other hand, shows that sizable fraction of the population is aware of noteworthy fake news stories and believes them. This data suggests that the majority of individuals learn about fake news articles via mainstream news channels rather than from fake news websites. So, when the media are accused of spreading fake news, they report it, but it is very rarely contest this negative framing of themselves, leaving people with no reason to doubt its usage.
How do politicians attempt to attract attention?
This type of political users are either fringe politicians who use the word to gain more media attention, or, on the other hand, there are the mainstream politicians who use it to gain more attention. The politicians users also have more power to exploit the language, so it's easy for them to discredit the media and political opponents.
Let me tell you what I know about different organizations manipulating the media. From social movements to political parties and governments, different groups engage in trying to shape the narrative of the media as much as they can.
What are different ways in which politicians manipulate the media?
Some tactics to manipulate the media can be planting misinformation using human or digital tools, targeting journalists or public figures for social engineering, gaming trending and ranking algorithms, and coordinating actions across multiple user accounts to force topics, keywords, or questions into public conversation. All of these ways in which politicians could manipulate the media, sometimes they could even abuse words they choose and take everything out of context. Even though networks quote for word, they take what they can out of context and choose their advantage in what they communicate.
That's interesting. And what are the consequences of this?
Well, because of this, the public consumes partial quotes as truth, and although the words they use are true, the implications are very far from it. Next, I want to talk about a case study I learned about. Basically, in 2016, Donald Trump tweeted an image of Hillary Clinton next to a Star of David, calling her the most corrupt candidate ever, with heaps of US money composing the background of the photo, as you can see in the picture. The Star of David, money, and the implication of corruption conjured up stereotypical images of Jews and allured to conspiracy theories concerning Jewish dominance of monetary systems. The image's anti-Semitic overtones were quickly discovered by national media outlets, who published critical responses and headlines highlighting the social media outcry. Just some hours later, Trump deleted the tweet and replaced the Star of David with a circle, thus removing the most blatant anti-Semitic symbolism.
To what extent do you think Trump's manipulation to the media affect to the public's support towards him?
Conveniently, his team and supporters started saying that the Star of David was actually just a normal star, and the media was making it all up. This just goes to show how ignorant his supporters are. Surely, at least some of his supporters stopped supporting him because of how offensive this was. But mostly all his supporters stayed unbothered, and all along, this was strategically planned by Trump's team in order to look like the media's victim and make the media look like they created fake news, once again manipulating the media and taking control.
A very important tactic that politicians use is called euphemisms. Euphemism serves as signals of political tribal membership, but also as means to convince voters to support their policy. Political debate nowadays is impossible without memorizing a list of euphemisms.
What are some examples of euphemisms used in politics?
Like, for example, people often refer the atomic bomb that exploded in Hiroshima as a device or the thing. Another example can be when the US attacked Vietnam, the US Department of Defense named their air attack as air support or protective action, and the destruction of Vietnamese villages referred it as pacification program. In the same attack, the U.S. bombarded Vietnam. All death and injuries caused by the bombs were expressed as collateral damage.
How often are euphemisms used in political speeches?
It's practically impossible for politicians to make a speech without using euphemisms. Some of them rely on familiar phrases so that they sound like they're saying the right things, but in reality, they have no clue on what they are talking about. And this can be very dangerous due to obvious reasons. Even if politicians don't have the intention of manipulating the public, they may be doing so without realizing or simply because they were copying the writing style or word choice of those who came before them.
So, to wrap everything up, language is a key strategy for politicians, and using it to manipulate the media is something they enjoy very much doing. By creating fake news, forcing topics into algorithms in social media, having the use of euphemism in their language, you name it, they will use anything in order to have support.
That's all for today, everyone. Thanks for watching.